Menopausal and perimenopausal women, listen up. It's time to take control of your health and comfort, and Winona is here to help. Winona is a telemedicine company for menopause care who believes that your symptoms are real, important, and deserve to be taken seriously. And for many women, this starts with hormone replacement therapy. Winona's HRT is made with plant-based, bioidentical hormones rather than synthetic ones, so it better aligns with your body to offer relief from hot flashes, weight gain, and other uncomfortable symptoms. 80% of women who use Winona find relief within just 90 days. So, what are you waiting for? Get started today. Visit buywinona.com today to start your free visit. With free shipping and the ability to pause or cancel at any time, your path to wellness has zero obligations. Use code SPRING24 at buywinona.com for 25% off your first treatment plan. That's BYWINONA.com for 25% off. Winona. Menopause care made easy. Summer is the season of hot temperatures, outdoor adventures, and refreshing water activities. Summer is also the season of rough on your feet, causing dry, cracked heels and toes. Introducing Babyfoot, the original exfoliation foot peel that contains 16 natural extracts formulated to remove dead skin cells in 3 easy steps. Apply the booties, relax for an hour, then wash your feet. In 14 days, you've got baby smooth skin and your feet have never been softer. Letting dead skin cells build up over time is hazardous to your foot health. Our professional-grade DIY products, like our original exfoliation foot peel, our men's foot peel, or our moisturizing mask, are some of the best foot care products on the market, created with your foot health in mind. Pamper yourself with a spa day from the comfort and convenience of your own home with Babyfoot. If you want a chemical-free, easy-to-use exfoliating process from the company that created the original foot peel, it's time to treat yourself to Babyfoot. Go to babyfoot.com and use the code SUMMERFEET24 and get 20% off your first order with Babyfoot. That's babyfoot.com and use the code SUMMERFEET24.
Hello, Happy New Year, and welcome to Too Stupid to Live, a podcast that reviews romance novels $5 and under. I'm your host, Becky Feldman, and today's episode is so much fun. If you have friends, if you've lost friends, heck, even if you liked the show Friends, you're going to love this episode. My guest today is Amy Spalding. She's a YA author who has a new book out called We Used to Be Friends. And I totally think this is a book that, everyone should read. It's about friendship breakups, which a lot of us have. And I think a lot of us have, very deep emotions about. But it's not something that we usually talk about. And it's, not something that's, taken as seriously as romantic breakups. So if you've had a friendship breakup, which I'm sure a lot of you have had, and it still affects you, trust me, you are not alone. And I think that you are going to really relate to this episode. And then if you're like, no, I am here for the naughty, sexy reviews. Guys, don't worry. We still have that too. We are discussing some really fun Chuck Tingle stories, which I will say is very long overdue. So please enjoy my interview with Amy Spalding. All right. Well, Amy, welcome to Too Stupid to Live.
I am so happy to be here.
Oh my God, I'm so happy you're here. You're coming out with a new book, We Used to Be Friends.
It's true.
Yeah, that's true. That is a true thing I said. But first, do you want to tell everyone about yourself? Where are you from? How you got started writing? Why YA? That whole spiel, which I'm sure you've done a gazillion times.
I don't know if I've ever just done it all at the top of a podcast, so it's exciting.
All right, sure.
I'm from St. Louis. I always wanted to be a writer. I was especially obsessed with the Babysitters Club.
Oh, I love
which I still cite as my primary influence.
What babysitter, who's the one that you identify with?
So this used to be my Instagram bio before I was I think I have to be semi-professional on here. But I'm a Marianne who really wishes she was a Stacy.
Oh, okay. I see that.
I just care about books and cats and cute people with good hair.
But you wish that you were fashionable.
Just wish I was the super coolest New York girl.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm a Mallory, obviously.
Oh, that feels right. Yeah.
Yep. It's just, yeah. But do I wish I were a Claudia? Hands down.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, so you read a lot of Babysitters. That was
it was a big formative experience.
Yeah, sure.
I think, I wanted to write, basically as soon as I was people write these things, I was that will be me someday. But it took a while. First, writing a book, by the way, if anyone thinks it's real easy, it's not. It's a lot of work.
I don't believe it.
The other thing is like, you can't just, I would just like write the right amount of like pages to be a book. But like, there is a plot structure that books should have. If they're not like experimental cool fiction. If they're like a straightforward book, it should maybe just like have a exposition and rising action and all of that stuff, which I did not really fully understand until I was in my 20s, to be fair. And so I sort of just like wrote as a hobby for a really long time. And once I had moved out to LA, it hit me that I was like, I keep saying like, oh, I'm going to write someday, but I wasn't really doing anything to get there professionally. And I told myself like, if you're going to devote this much time and effort to it, you need to like figure this out, or what else are you going to do instead? That's fine. But I felt like I just like needed to get it together. And so I spent like time. That was back, I feel like, in the days where blogs were really big.
Oh, sure.
So like read all the like the agents and editors' blogs and be like, wow, these are the mistakes people make.
Oh,
here's
so
the
much.
pitfalls. And by the time I did all that, I realized like, oh, I still don't know what I'm doing. I need to like keep writing. And so like 6 months later, after all that research, I was able to start querying. I got an agent, and a while later I got a book deal. So it kind of all came together. And YYA is, I was basically writing a lot of stuff that had a lot of like coming of age elements and teenage characters. And someone was like, I think you're writing YA. I'm like, I don't think so. Because YA when I was growing up was not like it is now.
Right.
It was like Sweet Valley High. And then.
And Babysitters.
And Babysitters, which was like a little younger.
Yeah.
And then like maybe like a book that won an award.
Right.
And then like series that seemed to be like maybe Sweet Valley High ripoffs. And that was, I feel like it.
Sure. Yeah.
And so there wasn't this like huge section that felt like much more realistic and like all these standalone books and different genres within. Yeah. And so I remember I like went to the library. I was like, wow, look at all these books. This is what I've been trying to do. I didn't know it.
Totally. Well, okay. So I have a question for you. I mean, I have multiple. This is a podcast. Okay. Anyway. So I find that like, and I could be wrong, that is there like this discrepancy between female YA authors and then male YA authors with like based on protagonists, where sometimes like it feels like books that have a young male protagonist like get like roped into fiction versus like female protagonists?
I think so for sure.
Yeah.
And I also think, I mean, you see things even when like a book that has a male protagonist and is considered YA, but you'll see reviews that are like, wow, I can't believe he managed to put humor and romance in one book. And I'm like, yes, many women do that too. Like the way people sort of treat, like, I can't believe a man wrote about a teenager. Wow. And I'm like, yeah, women also write about, like, people of all genders can write about teenagers. If it's good, that's great. Like, cool.
It's so frustrating because I think I read, like, women, I buy books more than men, I think. Yeah. And it's, like, just still, like, it's so geared towards, like, a male readership when it's, like, you're not looking at who's, like, buying books.
Yeah. And you know what? There are some, it turns out some men can write books. I'm proud of all of them who can. But it's so frustrating to see people lauded for the same things that you see like women doing and have been doing.
Yes.
Because all the big names in YA, and when I say big names, I don't just mean popular, I mean people who are like really sort of forming the genre and, you know, writing the books that came to define it. So many of them, the majority are all women. And yet there are certain male authors it feels like, oh, well, look at him. He's making it serious. He's making us take it seriously. It's like, really, all the money and awards that went to these women weren't making it serious? I
mean, it must be so fucking frustrating.
It's frustrating. The thing that's hard for me is, you know, I'm someone who tends to write like a little lighter stuff, a little more fun. I know I'm not someone who's like set out to like win awards or anything like that, but I see women writing these books that sort of astound me, how like groundbreaking they can be, the kinds of subjects they tackle. And when I see sort of sometimes the people who are getting exalted, I'm just like, oh, so like 10 men wrote books, 100 women wrote books, and yet it's like 5 and 5 on the like.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not saying I don't want, look, if a book is good, it should be elevated, but it just feels like people are so much more willing to take a book by a man seriously, even if it does have like comedic elements, even if it's a little like off kilter. Whereas I feel like a lot of times women and other marginalized people, it's sort of like, well, is this about pain and stuff? Okay, well then we can maybe take it seriously.
Right. Yeah. It is frustrating because I feel like, I mean, it's this like double-edged sword where I love romance. I love going into the romance section, but then it's still like women's fiction.
Yes.
It's not a real book. It's like, you know what I mean? Like it's not real. And then I just like want to be like, you don't know what a book is. You know what I mean?
Or it's so weird because they're like, oh, if a book is romance, don't take it seriously. I'm like, almost every, like, I'm doing air quotes. I'm sorry, home listeners. All serious books tend to have romance in them too.
Yeah,
so it's weird that when we isolate it, it's like, oh, don't take it seriously. And the other thing is that you're much more like, if you look at like other sort of like genre fiction, like sci-fi and mystery, I feel like romance is the most like often like real life. Like a lot of us, you know, do date and like get married or fall in love. And like, I don't know why we're supposed to then be like, that's unrealistic because it was cheesy or like a little heightened when there's like a thing about like an average man like solves like an international crime.
Right,
And we're like, no, you can take that seriously.
Right. Yeah. Thank you. I love that. I'm using that is going to be my argument from now on.
And like that, I feel like that's my pet peeve because I'm like, look, at the end of the day, you know, books should be evaluated on a lot of factors. And I just hate that it feels like you get this automatic like push to the next level.
Yeah.
When you're writing as male.
Right. For sure. Yeah. It's like the most unfair. I mean, it's very unfair.
Because like the thing I feel like a lot of authors talk about is like we're not asking to like, we just want to have the same amount of consideration. Right. We're not saying we automatically deserve any extra, you know, media attention, any extra awards, anything like that. It's just more like if we felt like it was likely the same percentage of like this guy getting some attention and like a woman doing the same exact thing, that's where it gets frustrating.
Oh, of course. Okay, so I want to switch gears and talk about We Used to Be Friends. I'm gonna gush. I loved it so much.
Thank you.
I related to it so much, and it's so interesting. And you did there's like such an interesting concept to it. So do you want to talk about how you came up with the idea?
Yeah. So I really wanted to write a friendship breakup book because I think friendship breakups are, I mean, no one thinks they're good, but I think they are devastating.
I agree. Like, I just had this conversation with some girlfriends like over the summer, and we were talking about like friendship breakups and how no one ever talks about it. No one thinks it happens, but it hurts way more.
So much worse than a romantic. I mean, I feel like the only sort of romantic breakup you can sort of compare it to is like a divorce or something, like, you know, people who have been like partners for like years and years. Because the thing is that with a friend, you sort of just expect they're going to be around in your life forever.
Yeah.
It's because I feel like if you're not to the point where it's like a serious relationship, or even if it's a serious relationship, but it's not like committed yet.
Yeah.
I think there's always in the back of your head, like, this might not be it.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But with friendship, there's just like, there's not necessarily a reason to think that.
Yeah.
Especially with a best friend, especially with someone you've had in your life for a really long time. And I think it's made worse by the fact that, like you said, we don't talk about it. So then when it happens, it's this, you know, I've had friend breakups as an adult too.
Oh, same. Yeah.
Where it has like destroyed me. And, you know, I feel like, you know, if you go through a really bad relationship breakup, like romantic relationship, people are like, I'm so sorry. Do you need a day off work? Can I take you out for a drink? Do you want ice cream? Let's listen to all these like sad songs.
Yeah.
Or like all these like, fuck you songs. Yeah. But if you have like a friend breakup, people are like, oh, it's a bummer. Anyway, here's like a dumb story about like takeout I got last night. And I'm like, no, it's not like a anyway, next subject. This is huge. I feel like I've lost like a limb.
Yeah, absolutely.
And yet I don't feel like society is sort of like set up to handle it. Yeah. Which is weird because while I was working on this book, anytime someone was like, what are you writing? And I was like, oh, I'm writing about a friend breakup. Everyone was like, oh, I just went through something last year, or I went like this thing from 10 years ago is still affecting me. Like everyone has one of these stories. So I'm like, I want us to talk about it more. I also think like I'm a really big proponent, even though I love romance and it's like one of my favorite things to read and write, obviously. It's really weird just how much like you could like go on 2 dates with someone and like bring him to like a wedding and people would be like, that's romantic. But if you brought like your best friend of 10 years as your plus one, people would be like, oh, it's sad. Is that all you have?
Yeah.
And we like elevate any amount of romance in our society like so much and sort of act like, oh, well, that's just a friend and that's fine. It's like, well, someone I've had in my life for like 20 years, it's kind of a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, your friendships like are important and I think maybe like, you know, when I've experienced friendship breakups, I think what hits it the most is that like in my brain, I'm like, well, friendship's a given. You have a friend and you're friends forever. And you don't think like, oh, every memory you're going to make, you're going to like laugh about it 20 years from now, 30 years from now. And then all of a sudden, like they're not in your life.
And all that like, stuff you have all these like horrible sad associations with now too.
Yes. Yeah. It's so frustrating because sometimes like now I'll like be telling stories, you know, like, oh, one time, blah, 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 blah. And it was with a friend that I had a friend break up with. And I'm like, am I still allowed to like those memories? Am I still allowed to like laugh, you know? And it's so frustrating.
Yeah. One of my best friends and I had a friend break up and didn't talk for like 7 years. And like, we're great now.
Yeah.
And I swear, it's just nice to have a person you really care about back in your life.
Sure.
But there's also the level of like all the old stories are like fair game again. And I'm like, it is nice to be like, I don't have to do a weird like, oh, a person I used to be friends with, like real casually, even though in my head I'm like dying.
Of course. Yeah. Because some of these stories, you know, that I have, you know, we goofed, you know. Yeah. There were a lot of goofs.
And then you're like, oh, when I tell this now, it's just like this tinge of like.
Yeah, because you just, those feelings of resentment or, you know, however you feel, like guilt, all of those things that go into like a friend breakup just like resurface when it was just like one memory that spurs like after you're just scrolling on Instagram and then it's like the rest of your morning is like terrible.
Yeah. So I really wanted to tackle this subject. And I've been wanting to write a book about a friend breakup for a really long time. And I sort of like futzed around with a thought, God, like 6-7 years ago, like a while. And it hit me that if I like told the story from one girl's point of view, I was intentionally or unintentionally just like making the other girl the villain.
Right.
Because you can try to write a story that's very balanced or like have like to some degree an unreliable narrator or whatever. But it really felt like, it sort of felt like I was still processing some stuff and I was very willing to be like, yeah, that other person, garbage.
No, but I do think like when I read the first chapter, it's with the character James. And then I went to the next chapter and it's with Kat. And I was like, oh no. But then like, what does Kat say? But then at the end, I'm like, yep, these are two protagonists. It's both their stories. Did like, and I think that's what made it so poignant was that like they both had their guilt. They both had their resentment that we were, all of us at one point was a James or a Kat.
Yeah. And I really wanted to have the feeling as you read it, like if you're in a James chapter to be like, I'm with you. You don't always make the right choices, but I'm with you. But then when you go back to Kat, you're like, actually, but also, I'm with you too.
Totally. Because the whole time I was like, I want to ask Amy if she's a James or a Kat. And then like, I was like, I think I'm both.
I think I definitely gave very specific things to both of them that I've gone through. I think overall, I'm more of a Kat because I'm sort of like, let me flood you with all my thoughts and emotions. And like, I assume that if you also have thoughts and emotions you'd like to be flooded with, you're going to tell me. And if I ask you a few times and you avoid, I'm just never going to bring it up again because I have a lot going on.
Yeah.
But a lot of the stuff with, like Kat's very willing, I think, to like, James doesn't need me this second. She probably doesn't need me for the next 3 days. I won't check in. And that is to me not a me thing. So that was a bit of, you know, how it feels when you're like, oh, dude, so cool you have someone else to hang out with. Could you maybe remember I exist?
Right. Yeah. It's rough. What was I going to ask? Okay. So in this book, you have like, how do I describe it? But it's like the last 5 years.
It's like it's so easy when people know that because then they're like, oh, great, I get exactly what it is. And when people don't, they're like, wait, what are you saying? So it has 2 timelines. One goes forward and one goes backward. But the one that goes backward, like there's no perspective put on it where she like, it's just the chapters are written that way. It's not like she's like looking back. So she has no perspective as you're reading it. So it's all like it's all like in present tense. It's all in the moment. So James's story starts at the end. So when you read the very first chapter, you already know they're not going to be friends anymore. It doesn't get, it doesn't end well.
Yeah. There's no spoilers. Well, people, I mean. Yeah.
One of my coworkers read it when I like got my first advanced copies in, and she was like, I can't believe they're not friends at the end.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I mean, the end is the beginning.
Right.
I don't know what to say.
I like when I finished reading it, and of course it was in tears, Beaches movie style.
Oh,
tears.
yeah. I mean, I feel weird being like, yay. But
no, it's good because you want.
That's what I wanted.
You wanted.
Yeah.
And I was just like, Jesus Christ. I am sad. But then I read the first chapter again because like.
I think a lot of people are flipping back, which is also kind of fun to hear.
Totally. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, it kind of like made my heart flutter again. And so I guess my next question is, how did you write James's story? Like, do you know what I mean? Am I asking the right question?
No, I feel like you're asking. There is no wrong questions.
Yeah, well, true. Yeah, so I can ask a few, but yes, go ahead.
Initially, I was like, I'm just going to write like a few chapters and be like, let's sell it like this. And so I was not planning anything. I literally just like sat down and was like, what sort of like poignant to read? What does it feel like at the end? Because I really liked the idea of sort of like stumbling in on this girl who's already gone through something and you don't know everything she's referencing. It doesn't all make sense yet because the more I thought about writing a friendship breakup story, initially I just thought I was going to write it backward.
Right.
Because I think, that thing you were saying about you're telling a story later or you just see a spare random Instagram post and it sends you down something. I started thinking of like what that looks like to other people. And how you could see like just this person going to the beach and being like, I remember that time that we were going to go to the beach and then this happened. And like, it's been taken from you. And maybe if someone saw you, they would be like, that's not even a person you know. Like, why are you? And you're like, no, they used to be so important. And I liked the thought of like, what does it look like to other people when something is over? Because it's almost like to them, it was never a thing.
Yeah.
And so I was like, what will it look like to a reader to like meet a girl who's already like kind of disregarding someone, missing someone, but like kind of thinking they're out of their life forever. And to know, for the reader to be like, wait, but they were best friends. How can she think this? What's this? I liked that. To me, I was like, I liked the feeling of sort of like trying to catch up and figure out. And also just, again, the idea that people can become strangers so quickly, that people can become so removed from, your life. And I thought that backward was the best way to sort of like give that emotion and examine what it looks like when like two friends become strangers.
Yeah. I mean, there was just this complexity to it. It was a complexity to a female friendship that I have not read in a lot of YA or romance, And
I feel like a lot of times I see it, but it's because romance or... in contemporary YA, I think romance tends to be often the leading sort of like plot, at least with a lot that I read, which means like friendship sort of like gets automatically relegated to like the B or C plot.
Yeah.
And some of those friendship stories are like wonderful, but they're getting like less page time.
Yes.
Because of that. And so I sort of like flipped it and made that like the A plot, and then the romance gets to be like the B and C plot.
Yeah. And I really loved the romance in it too.
I mean, Also, I did not go into it. I was like, this will be like not a romance. And then I literally was just like, you just wrote a meet cute. Like,
But I do think it's important because I do think with a lot of friend breakups, certainly ones that I've experienced, it is because like a third party.
Often like a third party throws it in. Or seeing how someone acts in a relationship, you're like, oh, is this you?
Yeah.
I didn't know this about you. You're weird. Or just they pick someone that you're like, I don't get it. Which, especially when you're young, I feel like when I would not get it, I would be like, well, then maybe I don't get you. Now I'm like, look, we all have different tastes. It'd be weird if we all wanted to like marry the same person.
Right. Sure.
It's Oscar Isaac. That's the one person we all want to marry.
Oh, yeah. No, he's there. He's, oh my God. One time I went on a first date and like for some reason we were talking about it and I was like, have you ever heard of Oscar Isaac? He's like my dream man. And he's like, yes, I've heard of the guy who was in Star Wars. And I was like, I know, I'm so nervous on dates.
Do you know what's really funny is there's like a, like just like a cast off reference to like Oscar Isaac in this book.
Yeah.
And I also had like a ex-boyfriend of one of theirs like mentioned, like named Oscar. And my editor's like, this is a weird comment, but I feel like you can't mention Oscar Isaac and have an ex-boyfriend named Oscar. It's distracting. And so obviously I kept Oscar Isaac and changed the ex-boyfriend's name.
Yeah.
But it was really funny because like then when the new pictures from the new Star Wars started coming out, I was like, hey, remember when that happened? And my editor's like, I don't even remember telling you that. But yeah, I stand by it.
Stand by that. Yeah, no, you can't have 2 Oscars. I mean, yeah, okay.
That is a weird book thing because like I know many people named like Jennifer and Sarah.
Yeah.
But like in a book, you
would never, or like maybe Meryl.
Yeah.
Well, no, I've seen Meryl before. I don't know.
But it's so funny how it's like, well, only one person of every name. That's how books are.
Yeah. I know. We also like, I sometimes get a note like when writing of like, you can't have 2 people with the same letter.
I saw a complaint somewhere that this book has like a Logan and a Luke. They're like, that's confusing. I'm like, one's a boyfriend and one's somebody else's brother. So I think it's okay to have 2 L's.
It's totally okay. Okay.
So basically I just like hammered out like 4 chapters. Mm-hmm. And I didn't worry about like how they were going to fit together ultimately, where everything was leading. I just sort of sat down and wrote, and I was like, great, we're going to sell it like this. And the people who would have been like able to buy it based off of a few chapters were like, we don't like it. Ugh. And I was like, ugh. My agent's like, don't worry, I love it. Someone's going to buy it. But I think you need to prove that you can finish it. So why don't you just finish it? And I'm like, oh, I wanted to do that with like a professional. I didn't want to do it on my own. She's like, have fun. Yeah. So then began like my maddening work of having to actually like back out from like, because I would just like introduce things to be like, wonder, well, this will go. Mm-hmm. And then I was like, oh, I thought like maybe I would have like an editor at this point who'd be like, here's what I think.
Right.
But it was just all me. So I kind of kept writing it out of order. And then at a certain point, I'm like, I just feel like I need to start like at the beginning with James also to feel like how she gets to this point. Mm-hmm, so then I like saved it as 2 different Word documents. So I wasn't like constantly bouncing back and forth. And I tried to write James's sort of like forward, and then I like flipped it back into the other one.
Oh, that's
but
so
then
cool.
like you've brought up things that the reader already knows. So then you have to like write exposition different when you're moving backward.
Mm-hmm. Well, I noticed that like, okay, like there was like a detail of like, okay, like James said something at a party and I know this is going to like, I'm spoiling it.
It's not super spoilery.
But you know, like an incident happens that we find out through James's storyline that like you end up seeing the bigger context of it like once. And it does like keep you like, you know, it does like keep you like, okay, what's going to happen? You know,
which is hard because you're like, how do I make people want to keep reading when they know the end?
Right. But you do, but here to be fair, the end is like, you know, it does end on like a question, you know, of like,
I think I think there are still questions. And I also, you know, one thing once I did, you know, I finished it. I sold it. Obviously, at that point, a book is not done. You're still going to work on it with your editor.
Sure.
You're going to make it better. Mm-hmm. And at that point, my editor was like, you know, just to make it feel like it always has forward momentum, like make sure when we're ending like James's chapters, there's still like questions we have.
Yeah. And oh my God. And absolutely. Like in the first chapter, you're like, oh, and when I read it again, after I finished Kat's chapter, I was like, oh, wow, this is like the end of like Before Sunset or, you know, the Linklater, you know what I mean? Like,
I knew what you meant.
The first one where they talk a lot and then you don't know if they're going to get together again. Yeah.
Well, yeah, it was definitely wanting that kind of, I think it was a little, to some degree, like slightly more of a hard ending when I sold it or maybe when I first wrote it. And then I sort of had the thought of like, what if it was just like, just a little more open?
Yeah.
But I also, this is going to sound, I don't want to say mean, but I like that it's a lot of YA friends apologize, your boyfriend makes up with you, etc. And we are talking about like 17 and 18-year-olds, and a lot of the people you're very closest to at that point are not still in your life. And guess what? It's okay. We all survive.
Yeah.
And so I wanted ambiguity because I wanted it to be like, you're going to be fine. You're going to still like, you know, if your plan is college, you're still going to go to college. You're going to meet new people there. Maybe there's people from your now that are going to take a different role that you didn't realize.
Yeah. This is a weird question, but like, So you write YA. Do you feel like, especially with what you just said, do you ever feel like you're equipped to give young adults advice?
No.
Okay.
No.
Is that a weird question to ask? You're like,
no, I think it's good. I feel like I can give advice on some things, definitely just, writing. But like I did an event once and a girl just like came up and that was when I was, I think, promoting Kissing Ted Callahan, which is just like mainly about making like music and making out with a bunch of cute boys. And she was just like really wanting like boy advice. And I'm just like, I am a single woman living in Los Angeles. Like my advice is like, it's very hard out there. I don't know.
Sorry.
I was like, find a married lady. I don't know.
Yeah.
So it was really funny because like, yeah, kids will like come up to you sometimes and just be like, well, you clearly are tackling these subjects.
Right.
And for me, like a lot of me tackling these subjects is more like I'm still going through stuff. And it's fun to like give your current problems to like a young person.
So, okay. So that's like kind of segues into my next question of like, do you face like, what challenges do you face of like writing for young people, especially young people in like 2019? Like,
yeah,
what is that process like?
I will say I try not to overthink it too much.
Yeah.
Because when I look back at what I read as a kid, I feel like the age gap was even bigger. There were a lot of like children's authors in their like 50s and 60s.
Yeah.
I will say technology wasn't changing as much then, but I think in general, it's always going to be an older person writing for a younger person and not always knowing the nuance of what it's like to be like a young adult right now.
Yeah.
And so I try to focus less on the specifics of what that is and think more about, I don't think the emotions shift that much. I think you're having all those same first. Your emotions are all like really big and right below the surface. But I also think in a lot of ways we don't change that much except we get more tools to like deal with things.
Yeah.
We have different kinds of responsibilities. And also the thing that I think is so fascinating about like being a teen and being a kid in general, your friend group is like, you're going to school with them too.
Yeah.
Which would be like if our friend group like worked at our office.
Right. And then also, we all hung out.
And also all our volunteer gigs were like with them and all of our like extracurriculars and like we perform with them too. Like it's this weird thing where you're shoved together with the same people constantly. And I'm sorry, I think if we lived like that, we would be having way more teenage style issues all the time too.
That is so true. You're so right.
Because you're just like, if you don't like someone in school, that is like, it's basically like hating someone at work and at your job and at your volunteer thing and at like your comedy class. Like it's everything together. And so I think a lot of what makes it really dramatic is just that sort of like forced interaction. Because in general, as an adult, if there's just like a person socially you don't care for, you can work around not seeing them.
Of course. Yeah.
And like with a coworker you don't like, that can suck. We've all had that. But also, you get to like go home and not think about them until the next morning. And you get to have weekends where they do not figure into your life. But if you have like a classmate you hate, that's like literally every day.
That's like jail. Well, not jail. Well, I'm being
you're being dramatic, but
it is.
But it's kind of And so I think about that a lot too. Of like, what's it like when everything's sort of like collapsed in and on itself?
Yeah.
And I think that is one thing that makes. We talk, I feel like we talk a lot about like, oh, it's teen hormones and they need all this extra sleep and like they're going through big things for the first time.
Yeah.
I'm also like, we also put them in one building all the time and was like, make all your friends and lovers here.
Yeah.
It's like, it's weird.
I never thought about it like that, but you're right. Like I did feel like high school can make you go crazy.
Yeah. Also, if you don't like get along with the general vibe at your school, that's just it for you.
Yeah.
And I think actually thanks to the internet, things are probably better in that way now. Because if I'd had the internet in like middle school when everyone's picking on me, I would have had, I don't know, like my fan Tumblr for whatever thing I was into at the time.
Right. Yeah.
And like I would have had like that community.
Yeah.
So at least I think kids have that now. But to some degree, like my parents would be like, it's going to be so much easier when you're out of school and you can like make your own community. And I was like, easy to say. And of course, it's true.
Right. But when you're going through day by day, like this was what was frustrating for me of like, oh, well, when you're out of high school, like things are going to be fine. Like I was teased and whatever. And then I'm like, but I have 4 fucking years of this.
It's
like,
not helpful. It's not helpful advice.
Yeah.
I was doing a panel once and a really nice teacher in the audience was like, how do I talk to kids who are just like having such a hard time? And I was like, I said, it genuinely does get better.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I don't know what to say, because when you're 14 and I'm literally telling you it's not going to be at least until you're 18, maybe 22, that's a very large percentage of their life.
Yeah. And it's so like you're formidable, and it does, like, time is so different, when you're between 14 and 18.
And you can also make so few of the choices that like as an adult, if you're sort of like, I really don't fit in with anyone I'm around. Like, you can literally get a new job. You can move across the country. There's all sorts of things you can do. But as a teen, it's just sort of what it is.
Yeah. You mentioned earlier that, like, you feel like your books maybe are, like, lighter in topics, but I do feel like with this book, like, you do touch upon, the loss of a parent and dealing with, having depression. And so, I don't know, I guess it does feel like you do bring in, like, the human experience into these young girls' story.
I definitely, well, I also feel like, how do I say this? I'm like, life is life, and really serious moments can be really funny.
Sure. Oh my God.
And really funny moments can have like an undercurrent of seriousness to it. So I just, I don't really always set out to write funny things. It's just sort of, that's the voice that kind of naturally comes out.
Yeah.
So, and also, like, for me, I don't know, like, I feel like some of the saddest moments are also like, I can think of something that happened that's just like really funny at the same time.
Yeah.
And so to me, that's just a natural balance. And I like writing about like real life. And to me, it's sort of like, that's the tone of a lot of people's lives, which is like, a lot of it is really light and easy. And then there's these like hard things you deal with, but it doesn't always make you like sometimes when I'm talking to people and I sort of like say offhand that my dad passed away, they're like, oh, I'm so sorry. And like, I can tell they want to like change the, like, let's have this be a different tone now that I know you have a dead dad. And I'm like, no, I know I do. And I've been talking like this. It's fine. And so I think for me, I like being able to address things that are maybe hard or sad, but still like we don't have to turn this into like a very serious moment.
Right, for sure. Yeah. Well, I have to say I love the book so much.
Thank you so much.
It really did. Like I related so much to the characters. It really was very touching. I'm like, all women should read this book.
It is nice to have a book where I'm like, I just feel like if you're a person who's had a lot of friendships and some feelings and some hardships within those, this book might be for you.
Totally. And I felt like it also like healed a lot of high school stuff for me. Like,
that's really good to hear.
Because like I, like James, didn't go to my prom. I like my senior year I didn't go, and I felt like I knew I had depression then, and I just shut down.
Yeah.
And I like felt like, oh, sometimes I think back and I'm like, did I waste my senior year? Like I didn't do anything that like, like other seniors did.
Right.
And then when I read about a character who also did that, I just felt like I was hugged a little bit. You know what I mean?
I know what you mean. Because you're like, she's fine.
Yeah,
like,
she's absolutely fine. Yeah.
It doesn't seem... It's also the thing of at the time, it felt like this is a live or die moment.
Yeah.
And then it's kind of nice to look back and being like, it wasn't.
You're right. Yeah. And she like goes through a poignant change, and it's like, she has her things with her like ex-boyfriend and trying to figure that out, and it was just like, oh my God, like she's going to be fine. And I was fine.
Maybe I'm fine too.
It's like, I'm like, 20 plus years since high school. And I'm like, thank you.
Yeah, I do feel like this book was in a way of like, well, I'm better now. I can write about some of this stuff. Because I think even, 5-10 years ago, some of this would have been too close.
Right.
Still.
Yeah.
But it's sort of like when you have the distance, you're on the other side of some of it. Either you've healed more for things that are still hurtful, but you've healed, or, you've reconnected with people. Because I think a lot of it is just... Oh, it's so hard to be in your senior year where you're like, all this pressure is on you. And it's so hard that you're going through, like, you and all your friends are going through like a lot of the same things at the same time.
Yeah.
And no one in general, I feel like, pulls you aside to be like, hey, everyone's going through a lot. Let's just all chill out. It's just more and more intense.
Yeah.
And so then when someone is doing something different than you, it's really easy to feel judged that you're doing the wrong thing or that they don't understand you. And it's like, well, no, it's just no one's even thinking about each other right now. There's just too much going on.
Yeah.
And it's so easy to then fall out of sync with someone and to sort of like have one thing I also really wanted to do within the book was sort of be like the things that were really fun about this person have become just like repellent.
Yeah.
Because I think that's such a breakup thing, like romantic or friendship wise, where you're like, I love that they say everything they think. And finally you're just like, Jesus Christ, stop saying everything.
Right. Yeah.
So I wanted to play with that, with those themes too. But I also feel like, when you get a little older, you miss that again. And you can reconnect with people, I think often once you have your own stuff figured out.
Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's like when you do reconnect with people, which I have done, like
Same.
it is like, oh my God, like all this stuff that I was like stressing about, like it doesn't matter, we're having
it sort
fun
of just
right
like
now.
falls. It's not even like you fix it. It's sort of just like disappears.
Yeah, and it was like it was there and now it's not, and it's like it wasn't all these things that were like stressing you out or like making you sad. It was like you're right, it really does disappear. Yeah.
So anyway, because a lot of people are like, are they going to be okay? And I'm like, I'm sure in the future. I mean, they are fine as they are now, but yeah, I feel like they're going to be.
I feel like they're going to be fine.
Yeah.
And I do think thanks to social media, they'll always be in touch.
I think so too.
Yeah. I have hope for them.
I know. It's like I write fan fiction about them in my head and I'm like, well, I'm the author. I guess it's just like, that's what happens to them. But I still feel like I'm like, I don't quite. Someone was like, oh, I have sequel thoughts. And I'm like, oh, I don't, that's, no.
I'm shaking my head.
I need the ambiguity. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's what's so great about it. And like, that's what makes it so poignant is that it's like there's the ambiguous end is just like, well, it's up to you. Like, are they going to get back together or aren't they? And like, either way, like it's still
like it doesn't invalidate any part of it.
Of course. Okay, so now we're going to do a hard pivot.
Yeah.
to Chuck Tingle. Do you like that? Yeah, going from talking about...
There's no segue. You know what I mean? Like, we just have to be like, we are doing something different now.
I know, yeah. I mean, I feel like I've discussed, like, obviously, like, crazy, like, erotica, but I haven't done Chuck Tingle. And so, like, I just feel like no matter what, that would have happened either way.
Yes.
Either way. Yeah. We're, like, crying out high school. And then, like, okay, let's talk about Pounded in the Butt by Sasquatch.
I feel like everyone has like the day that they discovered Chuck Tingle.
Yeah.
And like you go down this like wormhole, you start like texting people like, did you know about this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. So wait, you told me that you saw him last night.
It was Saturday. I mean, whatever.
Well,
the podcast audience doesn't know. I don't know why I have to be like, no, let me get this straight on the record.
I want it to be straight.
Yes, I was leaving a show at Dynasty Typewriter.
Ooh.
And there was like a person in a very strange like outfit, like a weird mask with like eye holes cut out. Mm-hmm. And honestly, it scared me because I'm very delicate. And I was like, I feel like I'm in a horror movie.
Yeah,
it was a very strange look. Mm-hmm. And then I heard someone, like we were leaving and people were like lined up to get into, whatever this show was going to be.
Yeah.
And I heard someone say like, who is that? And someone else is like, oh, obviously it's Chuck Tingle. And I was like, I like spun around really quickly, but I was like, I mean, he's wearing like, there's nothing for me to look at other than he looks frightening.
Yeah.
And then I looked at my friend and I was like, do you know what's going on? And she was just like, no, but uninterested.
Right. Yeah.
You're like really wanting a partner and like, let's gawk at this.
Yeah.
And she clearly was just like, no,
I don't care.
I don't care about this weird situation.
Well, I think it's cool.
Well, obviously.
Yeah.
But then by the time I got home, I was like, I think I made that up that someone said Chuck Tingle. It's just because I'm thinking about Chuck Tingle because of this podcast.
Yeah.
There's no chance that that's what just happened. And so I Googled Chuck Tingle Dynasty Typewriter.
Yeah.
And the first thing that came up was a picture of that person in a mask. And I was like, that was him. So anyway,
right.
He apparently does a show there, like a regular show. So what I think is, first of all, we obviously need to go to this at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah. And I guess because he's anonymous, he wears this weird mask with... which just looks like
crazy.
I feel like it looks like a pillowcase with eye holes cut out. Like, it looks very strange. There's a reason that I was like, I'm uncomfortable.
Oh, yeah. No, I see the discomfort in that. But that's like a really cool sighting.
I couldn't believe like mere days before this.
I know.
Yeah.
That's like so nuts. Okay. So should we get to talking about...
Let's do it.
Should we talk about lightly flavored, 0-calorie carbonated water? Gets me off.
Yes.
I was like, I saw the title and I was like, this is the one we're gonna have to read.
Oh yeah, great choice.
Oh, thank you. I mean, do you like lightly flavored 0-calorie carbonated water?
I don't.
Me neither.
But I related to the character because she was addicted to Diet Coke, and I am addicted to Diet Coke.
Yes. I'm glad you related to that. I thought that one part was where she's like in the doctor and they're like, well, she's like, I only have like one soda a day. Well, except for this morning, and then my mid snack, and then my midday Coke. Well, then lunch, obviously, and then my midday. And I'm
I love
yes.
it when she like was like, well, breakfast, and then also mid morning snack, and the doctor was like, all right, so you're already 3 times the amount you initially said, which is, I hadn't actually read Chuck Tingle before. I'm like, he's very funny.
Oh, he's
like
genius.
He knows exactly what he's doing. It's incredible.
It was like, honestly, it really was like, it was like, I mean, it's very smart, you know, and like very funny. I feel like it's like a friend writing this, you know,
yes.
like it feels like an improv scene with like your friends, you know.
Yes, it really does. But again, like a good one where everyone has committed 100%.
That's the thing. Yeah. And I was like, okay, because later on, spoiler alert, she fucks a giant can of what lightly flavored. Yeah. Of LaCroix. Yeah.
I also love that he's clearly writing these really quickly because at one point it's just called LaCroix.
Oh, I saw that.
But
yeah.
I was like, you do you, Chuck Tingle. No one needs to copy edit you.
Yeah, we were here for it. Like that's like, you know, that's so crazy about like what he does is that like putting it up is art in itself.
Yes.
You know,
yeah.
and that's what is so like respectful about it. Like, you know, that's how he kind of got his start, was just like seeing if he could do this.
And it turns out, yeah.
And he won an award and he can.
Yeah, it was like weirdly, I was like, oh, this is weird. Someone I've referenced for years and years. I'm actually sitting down to read. I was like,
yeah.
Oh, yeah, he's real good.
Yeah, I know. And I didn't know about him until like someone at this job I had told me about him. I was like, oh my God. And I was like looking up all of these things. I'm like, I have to review these one day. I
can't remember. I feel like maybe I saw something on Twitter years and years ago. And at the time, like, I always have like a younger person working for me at my job because I work in digital media and like, you need someone who's got their finger on the pulse. Yeah. And I remember it's just like, Kevin, do you know about Chuck Tingle? And he's like, no. And I sent him a link and both of us like lost an hour of our day. Because we were just like, do you see this? Do you see that? Like we could not get enough of just looking at the covers.
Yeah. And I was just like amazed, like, I mean, he's still obviously putting a lot of stuff out, but I want to say like 3 years ago, it was like once a day, there was like a new thing out. And I was just like, this is so impressive. Like, I can't get over it.
Yeah, especially because I'm like, they do have like a very unique flavor to them. He's doing something.
Yeah.
They do not seem half-assed.
No. I mean, it's so great. Okay, so it ends with, you know, this woman... She needs to learn that she needs to drink water.
So the LaCroix is like the gateway.
Yeah, the gateway to water. So I guess the point is, if you're addicted to soda, which what is that? And you need to start drinking water because in your veins there's
it's just
soda.
Diet Coke.
It's just Diet Coke. You don't have blood anymore. You have Diet Coke, which sounds kind of fun.
I know. I was like, I just find all of that relatable.
I know. I mean, like, if I met someone who had, like, Diet Coke blood, I'd be like, great, I'm a vampire now.
Yeah, it feels easier to maintain.
I know, yeah.
Like, there's always, like, these blood shortages when there's, you know, like a national crisis.
Yeah.
There's never a Diet Coke crisis, like, shortage, so.
I know, yeah, we could always use it. So, yeah, I mean, I loved it. I loved this book quite a bit. Okay.
I also I like that when she felt herself attracted to the can of lightly flavored carbonated water.
Yeah.
She was just like, she accepted it about herself very quickly.
I know. Yeah. And they just like got right into it. Like I thought the sex.
It's also like.
Sex was hot.
It was weirdly hot.
And I was like, how is this going to happen? But I've read so much at this point. I'm like, yeah, she's going to fuck it. And you know what? I'm really going to like it.
I was like, oh, I thought that part would be like not good. I was like, it's weirdly good.
Yeah. Because I was curious of like, okay. You know, whenever I read erotica and it's like they're fucking something that's not human, I'm like, okay, how is this going to happen? And then I'm like, great.
I know. I do feel like the more straightforward you are about it, the more I'm just like, this is fine. I accept it.
Totally. Yeah. Because like I don't need any like hidden capsule. Like I don't need someone to like morph into a human.
I don't want to have to learn about new biology. Just like make it very simple
just
on me.
Make it
We're
simple.
not like, I'm not here to like learn about like anatomy.
Yeah. And I don't want to like imagine like what does a vagina look like on a can of
just make
lightly
it very
flavored
straightforward.
0 calorie carbonated water. Okay, well, you came from Burbank driving and you ran into traffic because there was a protest about Donald Trump's impeachment.
It's true.
So I think that means we should pivot to Donald Trump's anal impeachment.
I was like, this is a weird reference point I have now to see the protest. And my first thought was like, I just read about that. And I was like, I mean, not.
Yeah. I mean, now.
Not because I was on the Washington Post site. Nope.
I mean, every morning I've been like that. I wake up, I look at my phone and see the headlines and it's like impeachment, blah, blah. And all I'm thinking about is just this human form of what impeachment is. Fucking Donald Trump in the ass. Where were they like in some like underground, like, you know, under the White House basement or something?
Yeah, something along those lines, I think.
Yeah, I mean, but I was here for it.
It was, I found it very, the way he wrote Trump's POV was like weirdly charming because he was just like, he was like I don't know what's in that man's head for real because he seems very stupid and also evil.
Yes.
But and also just like lazy.
Yeah. I mean, he made him seem like he was like a dumb frat guy, which was like, okay, that's charming.
But like with like, yes, exactly. With just like that enough like level of charm that I'm like, I can read this.
Yeah.
Because at first I was like, oh, I don't want to be in this guy's POV. And then every way he described, like just like even the thought of like the assistant waiting for him outside a meeting and he was like, why isn't he not like, why can't I just like go? Why is there a person here? Yeah. I was like, oh, that's probably what he is thinking every morning, just baffled by procedure.
Absolutely. It's almost like this, like, he has like this hopeful vision of what Donald Trump could be.
Yes, it's like the best version of what's happening in his head, which is dumb.
Which is, by the way,
I mean, I love when he orders like just a disgusting manner of cheeseburger at a nice restaurant. And it's just like, confused that no one else thinks it's such a good idea. And it just was like weirdly sweet, even though I know in reality it's just very sad that a man with that much, you know, access to international cuisine would choose to eat McDonald's cheeseburger so often. There's just something that I was also like, oh, I find this charming within this one context.
Yeah, it was like, you know, a movie where a little kid becomes the mayor and he like doesn't know what to do with himself.
Yes.
Except now this mayor like does terrible things and is impeached. But he also doesn't know what getting impeached means.
No. And when he really connects it with just more time to golf, he's kind of into it.
Yeah.
More than kind of into it. He's into it.
He's like, I want to be impeached. I can like not do this. And I was like, great.
I know. I was like, please read this.
Yeah, please.
Except not the very end because spoiler alert.
He gets fucked in the ass.
And then, well, he enjoyed that part. But then.
Oh yeah. What happens?
Because he's like, the human form of impeachment is like, no, you're actually going to go to jail for your tax fraud.
That was very that I liked. I was like, okay,
I liked it, but I was also like, well, cut just that sentence and send the rest to him and be like, look how good this could be.
Oh my God, totally. Yeah. I mean, I felt like, you know, I was like, great. Like he got fucked in the ass by impeachment.
But like in a nice way.
In a
there
really
was
nice
enthusiastic
way.
consent.
Yes. Oh yeah. But then I was like, great. He also goes to jail in the end. It was just a great ending.
Yes.
What a happily ever after.
Yeah, really. For all of us.
For all of us, yeah. Okay. Now let's move on to this one I really liked. Not pounded by self-doubt because I can do anything I set my mind to.
I loved this so much.
Me
and like
too.
Think it should be like handed out to people.
Same.
I found it very like inspiring.
Agreed. Yeah. And honestly, like when you were talking about coming up with like this story, I'm like, this is a lot like not getting pounded by self-doubt a little bit.
Like I'm very early on in drafting something new right now. And I read this and I was like, I mean, Amy, you could learn something from this.
Yeah. Okay. So let's say that. So in this book, like his self-doubt, he's a writer and trying to, or like, you know, an artist.
He wants to be a writer.
He wants to be a writer. He's a writer. you know how people are like that? Like, no, say you're a writer before you write anything. And so his self-doubt is like personified as like an anchor. How do you envision if your self-doubt were in like a 3D form, what would it look like?
I feel like it's like evil me. Do you know what I mean? It's like me, but like, I don't know. I look evil.
Yeah. I like that.
Yeah.
Because it is like your self-doubt in a way like is evil you.
Yes.
Telling you what to do.
And it's the thing of, it's that weird thing of you actually feel good about stuff and excited. And then there's this other thing that's like, well, being realistic, it's real hard to sell a book this time of year.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, I hate myself. Like, it's just that constant thing of like, don't enjoy what you're actually enjoying.
Yeah.
Because to me, that's the worst part. Because like sometimes writing is just really hard.
Sure.
When you write a book in 2 points of view and 2 timelines, trust me, it's really hard.
Seems very hard. Yeah.
And that's okay. That's not self-doubt. That's just like things are work.
Right.
But when you're like, flying through something and enjoying something and there's a voice that's like, maybe this is too easy. Maybe you're a hack now. Like that's the voice that's bad.
Yeah, totally. Like there's also like if you're working on something and it's like going really well and like it works and then it's like, it's not even like this mean voice, but it's like this like, hang on, this is too good.
Yes. It's almost like the concerned voice that's like, it's maybe I'm just the only one to admit this to you.
Yeah.
But like maybe you're just not working hard enough. Maybe that's the issue.
And then that can like fuck you up even more because you're like, well, that seems like it's coming from a voice that's caring.
Yes. It's easy to be like, I mean too hard on myself. Just but like when it's like, no, it's like evil people in your life who can do things like this. So like, I'm just the only one who's willing to be honest with you. You're terrible. And you're like, well, they're the only one willing to say it. Maybe I'm just terrible.
Or like, I'm just doing due diligence, but you're a piece of shit. And I'm like, well, it's due diligence.
Yeah, I mean, you got to take that into consideration. It's easy to think I'm not a piece of shit. It's harder to think maybe I am.
Okay. What else did you like about this book? I mean, I just like loved it. It was just like a very sweet.
Also, all the little ideas he had were so cute. Like the little fish who wants to be a pilot.
Yeah,
and gonna wear like a bowl on his face.
Yeah, and like the robot with the hands,
model hands.
Werewolf lawyer.
It was all so charming.
Yeah,
I think I was really I was kind of blown away with how sweet it was and how earnest.
Yeah, it really was like, yeah, and I can see like why you have. Like why you would write this.
Yes.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
The other thing I like was it felt, because I feel like, I do this myself, but I also feel like these are things you hear out in the world where you're like, because he was like, I got to do more with my life. But I mean, I'm so busy with all I do. And his friend was like, well, I mean, you spend many hours playing video games every night. And right now you've not been doing anything for at least an hour. And he's like, oh, well, no.
Yeah.
And it was so real to me because I just felt, this is going to sound weird, but I'm like, I felt safe in this world because I hate reading things like that where that's just like treated fairly. Like, yeah, it is really hard to find time. Like we all are just doing everything. Because it's true, but also like, no, I actually find it very relatable to be like, Netflix has sucked many of my productivity hours away from me.
Oh my God.
And that's on me, not on the world.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like, you should have seen me before you got here. I was just like watching like, I was just like in this like days of watching the show Vikings. And I'm like, why am I watching this show? I've been watching it nonstop.
I'll do a thing where I'm like watching something I do care about. And I'm like, well, I got to check this thing on my phone. So I'm just going to pause it. And all of a sudden it's an hour later. And I'm like playing a game that I've never, like, I'm like, what? Where did I get here?
Yeah.
So I love too that it was like very willing to like, I don't know, call people out for like saying all that bullshit stuff.
Yeah.
Like, because it was like very gentle on writers, but then it had this undercurrent too of like, I mean, hey guys, also get your shit together.
Totally. And it's like with anything, you're like, I just don't have time for anything. And it's like, what am I talking about? Like, I spent 7 hours.
Yeah, I'm like,
on Facebook.
Like, you could watch less Frasier that you've already seen and write another book.
Yeah, exactly. Like the things I could do. I've been watching Cheers nonstop too.
I need to go back to it.
It's so
Because every time, like,
good. It is so
I watch a lot of Frasier. I feel like I've watched less Cheers.
Yeah.
But because I feel like Frasier is like a comfort thing for me, but I didn't watch Cheers when it was on because my dad thought it was a bad influence. He's like, he's a womanizer and he just gets away with it. I don't want you guys to watch that.
I mean, fair.
But like also
also he's a dumb idiot. And
I feel like he gets away with it in a way that is reality.
Totally.
And he doesn't get away with it in a way that's reality.
The way he says his like lines or like whatever, it's like there's like a self-awareness of like, I know I'm being misogynist and it's just to like piss you off, Diane.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. I very much took it like that. Though I do think it's very sweet that my father was just like, no womanizing on my TV.
I mean, that's like a pretty cool dad.
Like of all things to be like, geez, it's like, no, that's really sweet.
Yeah. Like, cheers.
But sometimes I'm also just like, I don't know if you understood the nuance of all these jokes, Dad.
Yeah. I mean, really ahead of its time.
Yes.
Some of these things, I'm like, oh my God.
And also like the Diane years, like a lot of those episodes could have just been like one act plays. They're just like these perfect little like one location things.
It's so good.
God, now I really would just want to go home and watch Cheers.
I know. I mean, I'm going to do that.
It's not going to help my productivity.
It doesn't. Trust me. Yeah.
Especially like having like a sitcom on like Netflix is so dangerous because like after 22 minutes when it flips to the next one, you're like, oh yeah, I've got time.
Oh, totally.
And it's just so quickly is 1 a.m.
Oh my God. Well, like in this morning, I was like, or no, not this morning, but like other mornings, I'm like, okay, when I get ready and eat breakfast, I like having the TV on. I'm like, I'm just gonna put on Cheers. And then I realized in this morning, I've watched 5 episodes of Cheers. And I'm like, Jesus Christ, what's wrong? Like, I'm running late. I'm still in my pajamas.
I recorded a friend does a podcast about like things you're obsessed with. And I went on to talk about Grey's Anatomy. And I was talking about how like I'd given it up. But then when it all went on Netflix, I like mainlined it a lot. And he was like, well, like at your peak, how many Grey's Anatomies were you watching? And I was like, I was like getting home from work, and while I was cooking, I would like have my laptop in the kitchen watching Grey's Anatomy, and then when I finished making it, I would like carry it to the living room where I turn on the television, pick up where I left off, and basically until I went to bed. And he's like, so like 5 hours, that's at least 6 episodes a night. And I was like, I mean, yeah, I think for a point of time, that was the case.
Absolutely. Yeah. It's just, and it's like,
and then you think about it like that, and you're like, oh, what's that doing to my brain?
Yeah, I know. I always think about my neighbor because they're like right there. And like, I'm always worried, like when I'm like lately, like when you know how like Netflix, you can like skip the opening credits. And so like when the credits start, like, I'm like, oh my God, they can't know.
What's so funny because I had a neighbor, one of my first places in LA, our upstairs neighbor was like a retired lady, and she watched like Law and Order just constantly. And we would know because like every 5 to 15 minutes it would go like cha-chung.
Yeah.
And I remember my roommate was like, Lupe's still watching Law and Order.
Oh, that is so funny. There was one time, like it was a few years ago, but I grew up outside Philadelphia, so I needed to watch all of the Rockies one week. And so like, of course, like, you know, the movie was like dun 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 dun, and I was like, oh my God, my neighbors must be crazy. 2 weeks later, I hear the Rocky theme coming from their house. I did it to them.
You're
and I was
an influencer.
Like, okay.
That's so great.
I mean, they could have been watching Creed, but regardless, they were in the Rocky zone.
You got them there.
I feel
confident you got them to that place.
I think I did too. It was like, they haven't talked to me ever since, but you know, I really feel like we have a bond over here. Well, Amy, thank you so much for being a guest.
Thank you for having me.
Fun.
This is really fun.
So when will We Used to Be Friends be out?
It comes out on January 7th.
Okay.
So, and I'm doing a lot of events that week. So if you're in a major city, check my website or just the internet.
And your website is amyspalding.com.
It's theamyspalding.com because Amy Spalding was unavailable.
God damn.
And one of those like auto generators, which clearly thinks it's for like a business and doesn't realize you've typed in your own name, was like, the Amy Spalding's available. And I was like, you know what? For what, $7 or $8 a year, I will take theamyspalding.com.
I love that. So you guys, theamyspalding.com.
You can find all my information there. Come see me on tour, please.
Yay. Hey guys, thanks again for listening. I just wanted to let you know that TSTL is taking a very brief hiatus because I'm workshopping a new solo show here in Los Angeles at the end of January entitled Tight: Sexy Stories About Pelvic Pain. I'll be sharing more information on Twitter and on the website. If you happen to be in the LA area and for some reason have the patience to see yet another self-indulgent one-person show here in Los Angeles. But TSTL will be back with a bang in February. And I mean that in as sexual of a way as possible. So I'll see you guys then. Too Stupid to Live is part of the Frolic Podcast Network. For more podcasts you'll love, visit frolic.media/podcasts. Thank you so much for listening and have a great rest of your day.